Blessed Day Reflection by Abia listeners. My name is Abia Grant, and we are here to reflect on our life journey. We will be discussing topics related to self awareness, self improvement, and mental health. Also, the purpose of this safe space is for us to be free to discuss the ups and downs, celebrate the wins, and talk about ways to improve the lows. So, welcome to this podcast, and I hope you gain something from this time we share together. Hey guys, welcome back to Reflection by Abia. It's your girl Abia Grant. I hope you are doing well and having a blessed day and that your day is treating you well. I know my day has been treating me well. At the time of recording it, it's actually Memorial Day weekend. So I have been getting a whole lot of just things done. Well, I can't say it's a whole lot of. I've been getting things done at the same time trying to just not do the most because your girl has a tendency to be doing the most and everything. But again, I do hope that whenever you may be listening to this, whether it be the weekend, weekday, that you are having a blessed one. And if not, it's okay. As I love to say or like to say is that things will get better. Things will not always be in turmoil, I guess you can say. So if your week is not going well or your day is not going well, just understand that it's not going to be like that forever. So, welcome back to episode number 20 of the podcast. Guys, can you believe it's episode number 20 already? Like, wow. 20 episodes in and I'm just like, okay, let's continue on this process. Let's continue growing. Let's continue learning about ourselves, learning about just how to improve us as individuals and everything. So let's go ahead and just jump right into this week's podcast episode. I don't want to keep you guys too long. Over the past couple of weeks, I have been speaking about mental health, and we are now down to one of the last components of mental health, which is behavioral health, right? So now, when I think about behavior, I think about the way in which we may react towards, no, not necessarily react, the way we may process something that is happening to us. But I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and get into like more of a definition of what behavior is so that one that you guys can understand and so that I could better understand. So it says behavior is your response to a thing that is happening internally, whether that be your thoughts or your feelings. Now, this could also affect your surroundings as well too, towards, interacting with people and everything like that. And then as we know, health is being sound in the mind and body and spirit. So, like the past episodes, I wanted to look into behavioral health and just pretty much see how that factors into our mental health, as it is just only one component. We have the cognitive health, emotional health, and now this last one being behavioral health. So I said, you know what, I want to kind of look at the stress part of it because I feel like behavior stress can be positive or negative, I think in a way. And I think that our behavior plays a big factor or is one of the big factors on why we react towards a situation or how we feel about a situation. So I said, you know what? I want to look at some of the positive life changes because I want to really relate it towards like our everyday experiences, things that we are trying to succeed at or things that happen to us that we're trying to figure out how to process and how to just feel about the situation. So for positive life changes, I have down here as getting a new job, traveling, doing the activity you enjoy, or buying a new home. So I said, okay, these are some of the, I guess you can say, positive stressors. I wouldn't necessarily call them stressors. These are one of the positive life experiences that we can have. But at the same time, I also feel like these life changes can as well potentially lead to stress depending on how you're dealing with it. Like, say, for instance, if you are in the process of getting a new job, that can lead to, stress of now you done left your previous job and you're moving towards a new situation. You do not know what the outcome is going to be. You may be thinking about, am I making the right decision? You have to also consider your family as well too. If you're changing your job, may impact your family, meaning maybe you were in a situation where you were working from home, like similar to me, and then now I'm working in the office. So now I had to restructure my routine in order to accommodate, me not being home, uh as far as changing, my routine with my pet, changing my routine with my partner. So the things that, although we can have positive light changes, what I want to reiterate is that sometimes there are stresses that come along with it, even though it's something that quote unquote is a good thing. Now, I wanted to go ahead and look at some negative light changes, things that you may get stressed about that may impact you. And again, these are common things. So, I have here financial problems, relationships that may break up, passing of a loved one, and illness. I feel like these are the top, I could say, at the forefront of what a lot of people deal with. So just even looking at, the negative life changes of financial problems, we know times right now it's hard. The economy is, yeah, we're not in a recession or anything like that, but expenses are getting high. We're having to even consider, I know for me, like, and I've talking to other females of a lot of people do not want to have children because they feel that they're not able to take care of themselves. So how can they take care of, another human being? So, like these life changes, we're having to process all these thoughts and these feelings on, maybe it's something that we want to do in regards into the wanting to have children, but due to financial obligations and responsibilities, we're not even able to enjoy, motherhood. Now, other people are dealing with financial problems in regards into maybe they are, they have debt, or maybe they are in a situation where their partner lost their job and now they're trying to figure out how to maintain their life, and maybe they have children and or a parent or somebody that they're taking care of. So there's many, stressors that is in life that can affect your behavior and how you may react, towards a particular situation, whether that be to a person or how you just feel with it. And a lot of times, the reason why I want to mention that is because a lot of times when we are going through these experiences, we are having anxiety, we are having depression. I always like to bring it back to that because I feel like that's at the forefront of one of the trickle down signs that things are not going on, going in the best way. So obviously, I have down here relationship breaks up, passing of a loved one, illness is a big factor as well too. It may not even be that someone is in serious of where they're going to transition anytime soon, but just the responsibility of having to take care of that person and how you may feel about that you know, loved one needing you that maybe you're not able to pour back into yourself. Maybe you start to behave and or react in a certain way because of the stresses that you are now having to feel obligated. Well, I can't say obligated, but feeling that this is your responsibility, and there's no way out of it. So maybe you may behave in a certain way in which you would abuse, substances, or maybe you would drink often, or maybe you would smoke, or whatever it may be, in order to, I guess you could say, in a way, deal with what, is going on. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into Reflection by Abia. Feel free to check out the podcast Instagram page and my personal page, simply.abia, also on Instagram. The links will be available in the show notes, so let's get back to the podcast. I have down here for some positive life changes, some of the things that, supposedly I feel like you may experience if it is a good thing is you may feel relaxed, you may feel calm, you may feel excited. But as I mentioned, at the same time, what happens is that you can also feel very overwhelmed. I spoke about it in regards into, getting a new job. I know personally for me, although I wanted to, transition into a new workplace, it was difficult. One, just accepting the fact that I felt that that I was giving up, because at my prior job, I was working there for so long. Even in my mind, I known that I needed to leave my past job due to the knowing of how things are done there, and then having to go into a new workplace and in a way start all over again, was very nerve-wracking. It was very stressful. So like I, mentioned before, is that even though again, these are positive changes that could be taking place in your life, these can lead to stresses. I even remember when buying a new home, like when me and my husband were going to be purchasing a new home, and just going through the whole inspection process and finding some place that is safe, finding some place that we both feel comfortable at, hoping that we made the right decision, because again, we're going into an environment that we really don't know much about. We're putting our trust into people that we don't know, these people from a hole in the wall, but we're trusting that they're going to be doing the right thing, for us. Those thoughts and those feelings at that time was very nerve-wracking for me. Um, because I remember even at that time, we were seeing so many homes, and we crossed so many obstacles of purchasing a home and then having it someone break it into the home. Well, at least we started the inspection and someone broke into the home, and then we thought we was gonna get another home, and then it wound up getting bought right underneath us. Like, there was so much during that time. There was so many feelings I was feeling. And then I remember also at the same time I was thinking that, okay, should I even make a decision to do anything at this moment, because things are not working out for me. So I feel like our thoughts and our feelings can really impact how we are going to react towards a situation. Um, and I think that we have to really take a step back from it to kind of, in a way, see the bigger picture, and see if the bigger picture, if that picture makes sense or if it doesn't, because I also at the same time feel like these positive light changes, supposedly what they say is positive light changes, are supposed to make you feel good, but doesn't necessarily, again, always, is the case. So I wanted to get into some of the feelings that you may be feeling with negative life changes, And those are feeling anxious, feeling irritable, feeling sad, feeling depressed. And I have here just the example of passing, of a loved one. I remember like when my grandmother had passed it's been a while. I say a few years ago, but it's been a while that she has passed. Um, Her passing really played a toll on our family dynamics, you know. There was a lot of emotions behind it. There was a lot of just thoughts in regards into did we do everything that we needed to do to make sure that she was comfortable? I remember me personally thinking, did I spend enough quality time with her? Um, and it really put me into it, I guess you could say for me, into a space of I was hoping that she felt appreciated, you know. So just imagine. I mean, for me, it started to change how I related to other people, how I show my feelings towards others, how I express my feeling towards others. I can say for me, for my family, that we got very close during that time. But that's not always the case. The passing of a loved one can definitely not bring families closer, you know? So it's like, again, we're having to process our thoughts and feelings and then try to figure out the best way in order to move in a situation. So, some of the physical symptoms that you may experience when you're dealing with, your thoughts and your feelings and your behavior and how you are to respond to a situation. I know for me, when I deal with my stressors, these are the top ones for me: chest pains, panic attacks, sleep issues, headaches. But as I spoke about in the prior episodes, is that again, I do think that therapy is one of the major tools that's helped me be able to better deal with my thoughts, and also at the same time being able to express more so how I'm feeling. There are moments in which I personally feel like I do hold on to my my what I have to think or whatever I may be thinking about, because I also at the same time don't want to put onto other people or having them take responsibility, or having them to deal with whatever may be going on with me. But this is when I do think that therapy is a very important tool to utilize. So, some of the therapies that I'm going to mention here is ones that I have. Two of them is the ones that I have mentioned before. And like I mentioned in the prior episodes, is that again, these therapies you could use in unison with each other. I don't feel like they are catered into any specific type of component for mental health. So the first one I got down here is cognitive behavior therapy. We spoke about that before. That's where you learn how to see your negative thoughts that influence your behavior and learn to change your thoughts. Facing your fear, role playing. I know for me, I use cognitive behavior therapy in regards to facing my fear, and saying, okay, yes, I'm scared about this particular situation, but if I do not go in that direction, what am I going to be losing? And that's, I guess you could say, is like I'm trying to not play a game with myself, but I am trying to let my mind know or tell my mind, hey, you don't know what this outcome may be, so therefore at least try it out. At least you can say that you tried, rather than you feeling like or knowing that you didn't put any effort, into it. So we have here another type of therapy, and this is one that I did not mention before, and I'm going to try my best to say it accurately. It's called systematic desensitization. I'm gonna spell it Desensitization. And this is where you make a list of your fears and you learn to relax while concentrating on the fear. You start with the lesser fear. Now, this particular therapy I have not utilized, but based on my understanding, is that you make a list of all the things that you are fearful of, and from the least fearful to the most fearful. And again, you concentrate on that fear. And I'm guessing that you use some type of, your behavior therapy to understand that yes, you are fearful about this. However, I'm not going to allow for this fear to basically step into my way. Um, I think it's very important that we have to understand fear is just fear of the unknown. That's all fear is. It's fear of the unknown because at the end of the day, we do not know where something may lead to. But again, as I mentioned before, we have to be open to the possibility that, hey, when we are putting our best foot forward, that wherever we're trying to land to is going to be promising. So we have to turn that fear into, okay, all right, yes, we're scared about this situation, but I'm going to push through this situation because I know that I'm putting all my ducks into a row and I know that I'm doing what I got to do. Like, for instance, with the podcast, I'm fearful about where this podcast may lead. I don't know if any of this conversations that I'm having is meaningful to you guys. Like, I don't know if I'm helping people. So I have fear of the unknown of, am I doing enough in order to allow people to understand my message, as well as people are actually here and wanting to be involved in hearing the message? But at the end of the day, it's like I'm going to continue to push through that fear. I'm going to continue to put out the podcast and do my part because I can't allow the unknown of, okay, this is a new space for you to get in my way of what I'm trying to achieve. So now the next therapy is one that I had mentioned before. This is called dialectal therapy. This helps people control their emotions and accept uncomfortable thoughts and feelings. Okay. So as I mentioned before, these are different type of therapies that I have mentioned in the past two episodes of the podcast in regards to mental health. Again, we spoke about cognitive health, we spoke about emotional health, and now we're speaking about behavioral health. I want to say to you guys is to check in on yourselves and to check in on others. I know for me that when I was going through my emotional ups and downs and I was, going through my mental health, I guess you could say breakdown, I had a community of people who said, okay, we realize this situation or where you're at right now is not in a good space. So therefore you need to get you I'm letting you know that I'm seeing an issue and I'm letting you know that you need to figure out what's going on. I think I have mentioned in some prior podcast episodes is that a lot of times we do not know that there's a problem when we're in it. It's always or more often the outside people that see that something is wrong. That's the reason of why people stay in situations longer than what they normally would do if they were outside of, whatever was going on. Is because when we're in it, all our emotions, all our being is tied into that experience. So it's hard for us to let go of that experience. However, other people tend to, because they're not dealing with that experience or they're an outsider, they're able to say, huh, something is wrong about that. Now, also, what I want to add to that is that I find that more often people do not want to express how they are feeling because they have fear that they're going to put their issues onto you. And this is the reason why I say that you have to check in with people and see how people are doing, because not all the time everybody is going to come to you and be like, hey, this is what's going on with me. I feel like that happens more so when a person has had therapy. Like in my situation, I go to my husband and I say, hey, babe, I'm dealing with X, Y, and Z. Or I'll go to my, my friend and I'll say, or friends, and I'll say, hey, this is, what I'm dealing with, and I need help with this particular situation. It's because I more so know now through therapy that something is wrong, like something is off. And I think a lot of times is that people wait until the last minute to actually do something about it. Um, and it's not until something goes wrong until, oh, okay, this situation is a problem for them. So we have to keep in mind that our friends and our family may not speak up. So we had to, have our eyes open. We need to have our ears opening and listening to what may be going on with them. That's where, I come into the factor of having a support system and so forth. So you are the support system to that individual. So that means just looking out again for them to make sure that they are good. So, guys, I hope that everything I have broken down to you in the past 3 weeks again has been helpful, for you, and that you have gained something out of the, experience. Um, I, when I was posting this information for the podcast and everything, I did not post any type of definitions or specific type of therapies or so forth. But if there is something that you want to understand more about, or you want the definition or etc., just hit me up on my Instagram page. Hit me up, you can as well email me as well too, and everything. That information is going to be listed down below, and I can definitely provide you with the tools and things and resources that, I was able to gather. Hey everyone, thank you for listening to the podcast. So let's get into today's word. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get into today's word. So today's word is abundance. And abundance means to exist in great quantity. So some of the synonyms I have for abundance is sufficient, generous, ample, copious, enough, and comfortable. I picked the word abundance because there is no limit. There's no limit to who we can be. There's no limit towards what we can achieve. And yeah, I try to live my life in as much abundance as possible. Some days are harder, some days are easier, but I try to make sure that I am pushing myself as much as I can push myself, but also at the same time be okay with that feeling that I want to say, because this is something that I've been thinking about this past week. Because side note, guys, I have my YouTube channel and everything like that, and I paused my YouTube channel, and it's coming up to me right now because it's like you want to push yourself and you want to thrive, but you have to also understand that it's okay to rest. So you can exist, you can be, as they say, it says here, in great quantity. You can show out and do all the things, but also at the same time, it's like, just understand that what you're doing is enough. And that's more so, I guess you could say, for me than for you guys. So that's where I'm going to leave this week's podcast episode. I hope that this episode was good for you guys. And I may have been a little bit all over the place in this podcast episode, but I do apologize for that. It's just, I feel like this week, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm doing a lot of reflecting this week. I'm doing a lot of reflection this week because for me, I just honestly feel like I need to change things up. And I need to pour back into me. Now, I just at this point don't really know in what context that means. So that's something in which I'm trying to think about. Again, guys, stay blessed out there in those streets. Make sure that you treat others kindly out there in those streets. Make sure that you check on your people. And God willing, I will see you guys next week. Hopefully, I'll have, you know, I would have been done reflecting and maybe I'll share, you know, that experience with you guys. All right, I will talk to you next week. All right, have a good day. Bye bye. Thank you for listening to Reflection by Abia. Let me know in the comments section what you thought about today's episode and share the podcast with your friends and family. The link will be available in the show notes.